Good morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 here on Monday, April 8th, 2024. I am Dave Biddle. Very happy to be joined by Dan Rubin. It's also Eclipse Day. You into this? I'm kind of into it.
We are in the heart of the eclipse. My wife just showed me a graphic. We are going to be 100% at like 3 something, but it's a big deal. No school today, put it that way.
Yeah, the roads are going to be crazy. They probably already are. People coming in from out of state. It's insane. It's going to be fun. I think I'm just going to stay here in my backyard in Hilliard. We're 99 point something percent. If you go a little bit further north in Hilliard, then you get into 100%. My wife's thinking about taking the girls and going and doing that. But like, I'm like
0.3%,
99.5% or whatever it is in my backyard. Like, yeah, I'm good with it.
I'm not sure I'm as into this as I'm supposed to be, Dave.
All right, well, let's get down to we'll get to Ohio State football in just a minute. Before we want to do that, tell you guys about our awesome sponsor, Nuts.com. We love having them and a great deal you guys can get. Very happy to welcome Nuts.com back as a sponsor. And I continue to be impressed with their products. I keep trying new ones. The latest one that I've been devouring is their dark chocolate covered pretzels. So good. I also love their roasted almonds. Now I'm down. This is my second bag that I've just gone through. Roasted almonds, which, you know, at least after eating all those chocolate pretzels, I think the almonds are pretty healthy for me. Half pop popcorn. Love that. And so much more. If you guys haven't checked them out, seriously, I highly recommend that you do so. Nuts.com is your one-stop shop for freshly roasted nuts, dried fruit, sweets, pantry staples like specialty flours, and more. Their wide selection means there is something for everyone. At Nuts.com, quality is a top priority. They roast their nuts and pop their corn the same day it ships, so they reach you deliciously fresh. Satisfaction is guaranteed. Right now, Nuts.com is offering new customers a free gift with purchase and free shipping on orders of $29 or more at Nuts.com/Bucknuts. So go check out all of their delicious options at Nuts.com/Bucknuts. You'll receive a free gift and free shipping when you spend $29 or more. That's Nuts.com/Bucknuts. Love it. I mean, they do. They've got a massive selection, and it's a bunch of good stuff. Good price, and you can get a good deal. So
no, it's a legit product. I'll put Dave's reputation on it.
That's right. I will bet
No,
Dan's
they're legit.
car. I'll bet you Dan's car that you guys will like it.
You don't want to do that.
I won't bet you my car. No, I'll bet you my car because I know you guys will love it. All right, let's get to matters of Ohio State business. Here's the thing with I'm looking forward to seeing the quarterbacks on Saturday at the spring game, but like we don't even know the format yet. Obviously, the quarterbacks aren't going to be able to be hit. Hopefully, there's going to be tackling for everybody else. I think you got to. I mean, I want to see some actual real football. I don't need Jeremiah Smith getting hit too much, but seriously, how much can we really glean from a spring game as far as the quarterbacks? I hearken back to 5 years ago with Justin Fields, who turned out to be pretty good here. People were freaking out after the spring game about Justin Fields. So it's like, are we really going to learn much? I don't know. That's still going to be the number one thing. Well, maybe how this offensive line is going to hold up against the D-line. I'll get to that in a moment too, but I don't know. I'm just curious to get your thoughts on that. Like, I'm curious to see how Will Howard and Devin Brown look, but I also know going from past experience, we probably got to be careful of putting too much stock in what we see in the spring game.
All right, I tried to test myself without Google. He's a receiver. His first name's Courtney, and I know he went to Orchard Lake St. Mary. What's his last name? The spring game award we used to give out to the guy who.
You think about Bam Childress or Torian Washington?
Is it Torian Washington?
Bam Childress was the initial because that was
okay. It's Torian. My bad.
Torian Washington was a multiple-time winner of the Bam Childress Award.
Okay, my fault.
And then basically, I think we might have called it the Torian Washington Award. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, Michael Thomas once thrived in the spring game and then got redshirted as a junior. Hello, things have changed. Imagine trying to redshirt. I know, but imagine trying to redshirt a future pro receiver right now. He'd be like, what? I'm out of here, dude.
Right.
That's a funny cut. Yeah.
Plays as a true freshman, then redshirts in 2013, and then becomes like in 2014, a big part of the national championship team. Then goes on and has 4 stellar seasons with the Saints. Unbelievable.
But it is kind of crazy to see how things have changed. And I will say, I think you hit on the key point for me. Is this going to be a glorified 7-on-7? Is it going to look like football? I don't think it's going to. Honestly, if I was running a team, it would not. It's fun. It's kind of like how I described the Oklahoma drill in practice when you're in high school. Very fun drill. Guaranteed to get somebody hurt.
Right.
So do you do it because it's fun and everyone wants to do it and it gets you fired up, or are you willing to risk losing your backup tailback for the season because you're trying to have fun? So I look at it like that. We can go through. I mean, you mentioned some anecdotal history. I remember when it was Joe Burrow and Dwayne Haskins, and that was fuel for the fire. And Dwayne didn't look very good, and Joe looked better, or Joe looked better and Dwayne looked. I just don't put a lot of stock into it. That said, the one position you can kind of really look at is wide receiver, just because you're going to get to see guys run routes, catch the ball. Maybe try to get off the bump and run coverage, but everything else, you mentioned the offensive line. I want to get to that. I can tell you how they're going to look. Not good. Every spring game, the defensive line tears up the offensive line, and we're like, what's going on? First of all, our defensive line is better than our offensive line right now. Secondly, they aren't schemed up. So I can already write the thread of panic for that one. And then you'll get a couple guys flashing. You want to see guys run, guys you haven't seen before. Guys look different on their college pads than they do on their high school pads. So the new guys, but I am one who puts very, very little stock in the actual spring game, like goings on in terms of practically applying that to what we'll see come the regular season. And I'm not trying to tank it. I'll watch every second of it.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Ascribing value to it is also a little oogie.
Yeah, we got to shoot our listeners straight. We're still going to be all in, though. I'll be doing the What We Learned live podcast live from Ohio Stadium after the game. So a little programming note there. Saturday, you'll have some What We Learned live after the game. But we'll have a full week of Bucknuts Morning 5 as well. So, yeah, man, I mean, like this offensive line, I'm really curious to see how they're going to hold up. If they can just if we walk away from that saying, oh, okay, they kind of held their own, that's like best case scenario, And I don't know, I'm when you hear Ryan Day talk about it, Dan, there's he almost has a quiet confidence compared to last year at this time when he talked about the O-line. Not that he's like, oh, yeah, we're good. Like, we're going to, we got a bunch of Outland Trophy winners up there. No. But he seems like a little bit more confident in the line this year. And it is more veteran. Luke Whippler leaving last year just really threw a monkey wrench into everything. They're a lot more veteran this year. And one of those guys, whoever loses the starting center job, that guy's going to be a very valuable backup, presuming he doesn't transfer, because the centers have a lot of snaps under their belt too. So we'll see. The right side of the line is going to be very interesting. Is Luke Montgomery, is that going to work at right guard? That'd be huge. If Luke Montgomery can be a good right guard as a sophomore, that's huge. I think he can be. He was a big-time recruit. And I think he's much better suited at guard than tackle. And then Josh Fryer, Dan, I don't know, maybe as a second-year starter, fifth-year senior, has had a great offseason. Maybe he can be a good starter his final year. But proof will be in the pudding. We won't know on Saturday, but at least maybe we'll get a good feel for how this offensive line's coming together.
I do think it's reasonable for Day to be optimistic about the line compared to last season, given the left tackle will be more seasoned here. He just got here. People forget Josh Simmons wasn't even on the team at this point last year.
Right.
He was a spring ad. Donovan Jackson had a down year relative to what was expected of him, but he's coming back with the clear goal of being a first or second round draft pick. The center, I'll be shocked if it's not Seth McLaughlin. Shocked. He's going to be this. I mean, barring, and I think he'll, he's a veteran presence. I mean, that guy has pedigree-wise, Buford High School and 4 years at Bama is about as strong a football pedigree as you'll ever get. If you hear the guy talk, cerebral cat. I'm impressed. Luke Montgomery, I loved when I heard he was playing guard, not tackle. Guys start to look to me like I've had enough experience working in the NFL and being in the locker rooms. Not that I want to share that information publicly, but guys start to look like a certain type of player. Luke Montgomery looks like an NFL guard. It looks that way to me. He does not look like an NFL tackle. So Josh Fryer looks like an NFL tackle. He's just got to play like one. And, like you said, and you've echoed this, if we're taking Day at his subliminal word, not even subliminal, he's been very high on Josh Fryer. And he got the offseason award, which is impressive. I will say this, and I'm not trying to bum everyone out, and I've told Dave knows this, and I am a draft nerd. And I was looking at third-round guard prospects for the Cowboys. One of them is Christian Mahogany, right guard from Boston College. So as I was watching the tape,
I think Dan's internet just got eclipsed. I'm curious what he was going to say. Was he going to pivot to the Boston College tackle that we all wanted? I don't know. I feel like he was going there maybe. That'd be nice to get that big Boston College guy down here at Ohio State. I will say 2 more guys that are in the mix. As we talk about whoever loses, probably it will be Hinsman. That's a heck of a luxury to have him as your backup center after he was the starting center last year. And Hinsman has a high ceiling. I mean, he was just a redshirt freshman last year. Project him as a 5th-year senior, let's say, or even next year as a 4th-year junior. He's going to be a good player. But I agree with Dan. McLaughlin's going to probably be the starting center. I'll be surprised if he's not. But then Tegra Shabola is a guy that they always mention. Tegra's a guy they always mention. And the other guy that's coming in, Tegra's only in his 3rd year. And he's got 3 years of eligibility left because he redshirted his first year, played a decent amount. I mean, he was on the field goal, team. He was the 6th offensive lineman at times coming in there, played a decent amount as a redshirt freshman, and they're getting him in there. He's rotating in with the ones. I think they're keeping Tegra happy. I know Mika was, saying, I hope we don't lose Tegra. I think they're keeping him happy enough. We don't need to worry about that. And then the other guy who's coming on, we got Dan Rubin back, which is great. The other guy that's coming on
total eclipse of the computer. Sorry.
That's why total eclipse of the internet. So, and the other guy that's coming on, young guy, is redshirt freshman Austin Severveld. He's going to be the top backup guard, it looks like. So were you when you cut out, you were talking about Boston College and looking at that guard, his apartment smells of rich mahogany. It's very important. Yeah. But were you going to talk about that tackle that we all wanted?
I was, unfortunately.
I knew it. Yeah.
He didn't. Now it was highlight tapes and of the right guard, so nothing bad happened on the play. But good Lord, Ozzy Trapillo is good. I spent the whole video just looking at him instead of mahogany. He did not miss a block. He's enormous. He will be a major. He plays right tackle, so I don't know, what comes to the draft, switching to the left and such. But you're talking about a guy who will be one of the 5 or 6 top tackles taken in next year's draft. Very impressed.
Going to be fun seeing
complete digression, and I apologize, but facts.
Yeah, things happen. JJ Smith, it's going to be fun seeing him out there running around wearing that number 4. He won't remind us of Santonio Holmes. He's a little bit bigger. But Santonio was a pretty damn good wide receiver, Super Bowl MVP. I can't wait to see. And I've seen JJ plenty at practices. But like you said, this might be my first time seeing him decked out in the actual Ohio State uniform, playing inside of Ohio Stadium. Are you kidding me? And he just keeps living up to the hype. Dare I say exceeds it. It reminds me a little bit, and we're going to talk about Bronny later. So it reminds me a little bit when LeBron entered the NBA and there was all the hype. And I remember watching before his first game, like, is he going to be able to live up to all this hype as an 18-year-old rookie against these grown men? And right away, he lived up to it. And then it was like, wait a minute. Dare I say LeBron is like, he's exceeded the expectations, which is crazy. I'm getting that same feeling with JJ Smith, and it's what I've seen and what I've heard. I keep hearing from sources that I trust, like, dude, this kid is going to start. And I'm like, well, it doesn't really matter if you're in the top 4. No, stop that. They're like, he is going to be one of the 3 starters, period. And you hear this from just various sources, and you see it yourself, Dan, and it's just like, that's going to be something exciting to see on Saturday is JJ Smith in action.
No question. 2 things come to mind here. One is I will have Andrew Ivins on the podcast tomorrow. He's the director of scouting for 24/7 Sports and also Florida-based, and has literally been the #1 scribe on J.J. Smith's career to this point. So we'll get him to put everything in perspective and go from there. What also jars my memory is that this has to be, it's really a long time ago, but one of the first columns I ever wrote as a newspaper guy was a lead saying these things exceed the hype. 1 was LeBron James. 2 was TiVo back in the day. That dates it. But anyway, LeBron exceeded the hype. That's one thing you got to say about the guy, and everyone has an opinion on LeBron, and we'll get to the Bronny thing, I guess. No one's ever been under that much pressure, and dude has come through in a major, major way. Jeremiah Smith, nothing would surprise me. We had heard, like you said, all the hype, and then you just see him physically. I'm going down memory lane a lot now here. I remember covering the Redskins, the Commanders, when they had Michael Westbrook and brought in Rod Gardner as a first rounder. And Michael Westbrook standing next to Rod Gardner, you realized Michael Westbrook was bigger, stronger, and that is J.J. Smith, just bigger, stronger, faster.
And should still be in high school.
Literally looks like Julio Jones.
Yes, and he should still be in high school. It's crazy.
I do understand people saying, oh, you're putting too much pressure on him and too much hype. Look, he's a generational talent. He's fine with this. This is not a guy who just started being under pressure today. You play football in Florida and you're the number one guy in the country in football. Our guy is ready for the pressure. He's been used to it. So I have extremely high hopes for him. I'd be really, really surprised if he's not one of the headlines coming out of this, given the fact that it's going to be a 7-on-7 and likely, and the receivers can really shine.
And you guys know, nicknames are very important to me. I kind of say it tongue in cheek, but I really think nicknames in sports are cool. And I hate when we just recycle nicknames over and over again. Like Javon Curse is the freak. And then this guy, we're going to call him the freak. He's the freak. It's like, can we be unique here? I like this. Optimus Prime of the Transformers. I wasn't big into stuff like that as a kid. For some reason, the Transformers was the one thing was like the exception to the rule for me. I wasn't Star Wars figures, I guess a little bit too. Maybe a little G.I. Joe Kung Fu grip. Little inside joke with Dan and I here. But I like the Transformers and Optimus Prime, of course, the big truck, big semi-truck that turns into this big, huge giant robot. I'm getting with that for Jeremiah Smith. I'm down with it. My guy Mello has come up with it. We got Carmelo Anthony in the house here. No, seriously, Mello, good call. I like Optimus Prime. We're going to adopt that for J.J. Smith. All right, before we hit some questions, linebackers. I'm curious about them. Again, though, Dan, are they actually going to be able to tackle? Because it's one thing like playing linebacker, I know I'm breaking news here. A big part of that job is tackling guys to the ground, not getting a hand on them, not playing touch football, actually tackling them and not missing tackles. So are we going to see that on Saturday? I don't know, but I hope we do because I want to see how C.J. Hicks looks. I want to see how Gabe Powers looks. I want to see how Sonny Styles looks. I want to see how Arvell Reese looks. Cody Simon's probably going to be out there 2 snaps because he's locked in as a starter, but especially C.J. Hicks. It seems to be the light has come on a bit for him entering his 3rd year. You and I have talked about this. You know about all this with him playing at Alter. You live in about 2 minutes away from where he played. Kind of a smaller school-ish for football, not a super small school, but very successful, but a small school. And he was kind of like almost like a rover back, almost like a safety. Now he's settled in. He's looked good to me. So I'm curious to see not just C.J. Hicks, but all the linebackers and how they look on Saturday.
Yeah, you nailed it with Hicks. Nick Mangold High, by the way. He didn't really have a position in high school. I've talked about this before. He was kind of like a lot of ways similar to the way Kate Stover was used when he was in high school, kind of just line up 6 or 7 yards off the ball and go get it. He was moved around a lot. They used him on offense to return kicks. He was put on offense at times when you really needed a play.
There's nothing I can say.
And I'm back.
Oh, okay. Got a total eclipse of the internet again.
I apologize for this, people, on a Monday too.
It's not your fault.
But my hopes are high. My hopes are high for CJ. I hesitate for everyone to be overly geeked just because first year starting at any position is not going to look like at the beginning, doesn't often look like 5-star in motion, if you know what I'm saying. So I think we need to be a little reasonable and let him make some mistakes. Even with Sonny last year, you saw some mistakes, but then you also saw the extreme highs. So got to get him in there though, dude. Eventually, it's time to put him on the, on the field. Having him off the field any longer would have been silly.
All right. One more thing here. Well, we're going to get to more, but real quick before we talk about our next sponsor that we're really excited to tell you guys about, Mika. Excited about Jason Moore and the other DTs, as you should be. Add Caden McDonald in there. I'm sure that's one of the ones when you said the other DTs. Yeah, I mean, we're excited about the starters, obviously. Tyleek and Ty Hamilton, awesome that those guys, both back as seniors. Ty being a 5th-year senior, Tyleek just being a true senior, so to speak. And I think Tyleek has star potential. I know we all probably agree on that. And then these backup D tackles have really come on this spring. Caden McDonald is definitely going to be the number 2 one tech, and he's going to play a lot of football this year. Jason Moore's really come on. I like Hero Canoe too. I like all 3 of those backups are going to play a lot. So, and Will Smith might end up being that next guy. He might be over Tywone Malone. So I'm with you, Mika. You should be excited about Jason Moore and the other DETs. And I might be more excited about Caden McDonald than I am about Jason Moore. And that's saying a lot because I'm super excited about Jason Moore. But, dude, you get me about 335 pounds of Caden McDonald in there, and he moves well, and he has a high football IQ. I like the big D tackles that move well and are strong and just play with violence. Like, those guys just completely wreck the line of scrimmage, and I love it. All right, you know what else I love, Dan?
Oh, yeah.
Our new sponsor. Are you ready? They want us to show this off. So Goodr, you guys, Goodr is our new sponsor. Sunglasses, right? And like, here's the thing. Like, they look like, I love them. They sent us a few, and I love them because they look like the kinds of sunglasses that I want to buy at like the mall that are like $200. But these, start at $25. I think this particular pair is maybe like 30. But yeah, there we go. So here we go. Dan and I are just gonna wear sunglasses the rest of the show. What do you think about that?
For the Eclipse.
Yeah, exactly. Well, don't tell people that.
I was kidding, Dave.
Specialized sunglasses. I know you are. Just in case anybody doesn't know, you have to wear the specialized sunglasses for the Eclipse. I'm gonna take these beautiful Goodr sunglasses off now so I can actually read my computer here. All right, so again, we're very happy to announce our newest sponsor of the show, Goodr Sunglasses, Goodr. It's just a fantastic company that makes great looking and high quality sunglasses for much less than what you are used to paying. These sunglasses start at just $25 and they are 100% polarized. Goodr has a massive selection of sunglasses. And one of the things I like is I don't have to worry about losing them because I'm not dropping $100 on a pair of sunglasses. So if I lose them, I mean, good luck breaking these. I mean, they're high quality, but yeah, if I go out and I end up losing them, okay, I'm out $25, $30, not $200. I love that. You can get on Goodr, drop about $80, and you could get yourself like 3 really nice pairs of sunglasses. So I really, really recommend it. They look like the really expensive sunglasses, but again, you're getting them at a fraction of the cost. My wife got a pair called Amelia Earhart Ghosted Me. Yeah, Amelia Earhart Ghosted Me that she absolutely loves. She could not believe the price. So again, I highly recommend you guys go order at Goodr.com and check them out. And thanks to the BM5, you can get a great order, free shipping on any order. That's right. If you want to support the show and try a pair, Goodr is giving the Bucknuts Morning 5 listeners free shipping. You can go to Goodr.com/Bucknuts and use code Bucknuts for free shipping. Goodr offers a 30-day money-back guarantee and 100% satisfaction. Again, that's Goodr.com/Bucknuts and use code Bucknuts for free shipping. Bam. Gotta like that,
Yeah,
Dan.
Dave, seriously. I was going to say, we do a guys trip every year, and every morning someone's lost their sunglasses at some bar or someplace, and you're driving back to find them, and they're complaining about spending $200 and blank on sunglasses. So you can have those for your non-libation influenced occurrences. Rock these, look just as good, and play without fear, as it were.
Yeah, get on there, check it out. They've got a huge selection. It's really cool, and you'll love the names. Like I said, Amelia Earhart Ghosted Me that's their best-selling women's sunglasses. Is Amelia Earhart Ghosted Me. I gotta say, my wife was good in them. Yeah,
I was just wearing "Call Me Tarmac Daddy," which kind of means I fly private or not at all. But anyway,
there you go. All right, let's get into some. Here, make sure we get one more football question in here.
How about this? Brass tacks, Landover, Maryland. He doesn't know that I once when I interned for the Washington Bullets at the time. I was in Landover all the time. That's where the Cap Center used to be. They've moved downtown. But brass tacks, he knows what's up. The DMV.
Recruiting real quick. Matt on Facebook. We've had some others have asked about recruiting. Any word on Babaloa and French? Well, there's the crystal balls rolling in for the Buckeyes for French, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What are you hearing on that, Dan?
I'm not up on Babaloa as yet. We'll get on that tomorrow. But French is to the point where now I would be surprised if he commits elsewhere. He is the South Florida Express #1 receiver. The previous 2 #1 receivers for the South Florida Express, Carnell Tate, Jeremiah Smith. So there's a trend developing here, and it tends to end in Columbus with plenty of receptions.
All right, let's talk some hoops.
That's
Bronny. Now, I know from a good source, Ohio State's definitely going after Bronny, definitely going after him. And if you look up, you got to go to the offshore sites to do this. You can't do like one of the ones that's actually legal in Ohio. But if you look up the betting odds, Bronny James, Ohio State is the betting favorite to land Bronny of the college teams. One thing that's not an option on there is that he's going to go to the NBA. People might say, ha, 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 he averaged 4 points a game at USC. He's going to go to the NBA. I get that. I said the same thing yesterday. But my very good source tells me that's probably the most likely thing that is going to happen is he's going to go to the NBA. And just obviously he would sit on the bench and play with, on his dad's team. But that's probably the most likely scenario. That being said, if he decides to play another year in college, Ohio State is your favorite right now. I like it.
Hollywood Hagger, can you say Phil Chenier? Now that is a drop. Steve Bucknuts and Phil Chenier used to do the games for the Bullets. Phil Chenier played at Cal, stud, hardship. Anyway, I don't know how I feel about this one. I think I need some more information. So there's 2 things we're dealing with. One is, let's talk about Bronny, the basketball player. He is a defense first, athletic, kind of undersized combo guard. If I were going to say the best case scenario for him long-term would be Gary Payton Jr. That's the guy I would compare him to, a kind of a defensive specialist who is athletic enough to probably guard the position. He's not super gifted offensively. You can just look at the numbers to see that. And he's not really a true point guard or a true shooting guard. I do think he would probably help on the perimeter defensively. But the idea of bringing him in, I mean, his name is bigger than his game right now. He's a fine transfer. But the idea that it's going to seriously affect the wins and losses, I'm not sure I'm there with that. Then you fight the other battle. Then you have another aspect of it with this, he's LeBron's kid. And, you're going to have a number of, you get more press, you get more attention, but they get more pressure. It's a serious distraction. Diebler will be interviewed 40% more next year by the media. Fact, nationally, if he has the guy on the team. And I picked 40% kind of out of the air, but it just changed the aspect of it. I mean, Dave, I don't know if you went when they opened up the new locker rooms, what, about 8-9 years ago?
Oh,
I know that they built the chairs in the TV room or the film room extra wide because J.J. Sullinger was there and they had to make sure he could fit there. They told me that. But LeBron had a locker in the very middle of the locker room.
Yep.
Just so when they could bring kids from Ohio in there, they could say, at least he's from Ohio or from anywhere for that matter. I hear his brother is a better player. We'll see on that. I've watched his brother play. I'm not really sold on either in terms of that. The one thing I would watch is Duquesne. Not normally a threat to Ohio State, but keep in mind, Keith Dambrot, who just retired there, was LeBron's first high school coach. Drew Joyce, the son of his next high school coach, is now the head coach at Duquesne. And I heard Bronny refer to him as his best friend recently. Duquesne also just redid their facilities. They have a very nice setup down there. My son's team actually practiced there. We went to play at Carnegie Mellon, but that's what I think it'll come down to. And then when people say NIL for Bronny, I don't think Bronny is making his moves based on NIL. He's what I would like to call financially secure.
No doubt about it. And just real quick, rapid fire. There's so much going on. We're going to end the show with this, with some hoops. Can Purdue end the Big Ten's 24-year drought of not winning a national basketball championship tonight? I don't think they can. I'll be rooting for them, but UConn looks really, really good. UConn's favored by 7. I'm going to get your thoughts on that. Do you think Jake Diebler was the right hire? I know just right now, your vibe, we won't know for sure for a while. And then John Calipari leaving Kentucky for Arkansas. A lot to unpack there, but Purdue, Diebler, Cal. Go.
I'm going to go inverse order. Cal left because he wanted to leave Kentucky. They wanted him to leave. They didn't want to pay the $33 million buyout. And he's apparently very, very close with John Tyson, owner of Tyson Foods and the #1 donor at Arkansas. Also, if you read this, Arkansas's NIL is going to be number one. $5 million to play with. So don't be surprised to see Arkansas rise in the recruiting rankings. And apparently Kentucky's been kind of, the word I saw used was stiff with that. But I also think this was just kind of, I think it was just a parting of the ways, and everyone kind of found the way out they needed. He'll probably do pretty well early on in Arkansas. Be very interested to see who Kentucky goes after. You hear, because they basically, they're looking for coaches like the way Ohio State recruits. They're taking the earth.
Pitino.
I heard Pitino. They're going to make a run at Dan Hurley. I heard they're going to drop a bag in front of Billy Donovan. I think Nate Oates would have been the guy had he not just re-upped.
What are the Chicago Bulls going to do if they lose Billy Donovan? My gosh, they're going to go from this juggernaut of an NBA team to probably mediocre fighting for a play-in game like they do every year under him. Anyway,
Diebler.
It's not his fault. The Bulls front office is terrible, but I digress.
Diebler,
was he the right hire in your mind? I know we don't know yet, but what's your vibe? Roddy Gale leaving, Middleton leaving. I don't care about the other guys that left.
Here's what I find interesting. When you transfer when the assistant coach has gotten the job, I find that interesting. Yeah. Because why would you do that? If you were, does he think, do you understand what I'm saying? Like that, there are guys leaving Duquesne when Drew Joyce got promoted. There are guys, I've seen this recently at other schools. That makes me a little oogie when the assistant gets promoted and you boogie. Why? Were you not in favor with the head coach? I don't understand. For example, there is no way to say I don't understand when it comes to the basketball portal now. It's the goofiest thing I've ever seen. I'm not kidding when I say this, because my kids came up. Every single time I look at the portal, I know someone in there who's transferred. That's not a good sign. It's not even like it's beyond where I ever thought it could possibly even go. It makes no sense. Roddy Gale is 2024 for Luther Muhammad. Roddy Gale is not going to go anywhere and be a star. He was in a spot where the coaches knew him and was somewhat entrenched and decided to transfer. That either means that he's got bad advice in his ear or they didn't want him there.
Our Steve Hillwagon reported that Roddy wanted to stay, and one of his third uncles, Steve didn't report third uncles. I'm using that. I love that term from Urban. His agent, not joking, Roddy Gale's agent talked him into leaving Ohio State. That is a thing that happened.
That may have happened, but Roddy Gale still doesn't. I don't know if I agree that he may have gotten that information, but that sounds like an excuse to me. It's kind of like when your head coach of your, I don't even want to say this. I'm not going to say it. The Wright State coach saying he didn't want to go to Southern Illinois. It's like the Sharif Floyd thing. They say the Lord visited him and changed his mind and stuff. It's like, I didn't want to go, but I was visited by, remember Sharif Floyd when he was being recruited to Florida, and then Urban got on him. Anyway, I don't buy that.
I hated Urban. Remember? Because it was God talked to me in a dream. Who knows if that even really happened? But Sharif Floyd already didn't like Urban because of the national championship game where he beat Tressel and Ohio State, blew us out, and then was winning recruiting battles. That's the one that sticks out to me the most is Sharif Floyd. That's so Buckeye fans hated Urban until they loved him. Whoa, it's a total eclipse of the computer.
As you can tell, as they say when you sign on, good lighting makes you look better. So I think I just decreased in age maybe a year or two.
You might need to put your sunglasses back on, your Goodr sunglasses, if your computer's going to do all that.
We could do a show on uncles.
I know. And I love
this is true.
Third uncles is a hilarious term.
I actually covered a guy in basketball in the DMV 15, 20 years ago, his uncle was his guardian. And his uncle was about 6 foot, 245 pounds of rippled steel and dressed like he was 14 years old. This player was committed to Ole Miss and flipped to Mississippi State for more gear. Literally, the uncle got a bag of gear, sweatshirts, T-shirts, hats, and stuff, and made the son, his nephew, flip. Don't Google that one because you can probably figure it out.
Okay. Definitely Google it. All right. Great stuff from Dan Rubin. This is a fun show. If you guys are into it and you're in the path of totality or even close, enjoy the Eclipse today if you're into that. Again, great stuff from Dan. Thanks to all of you for tuning in. We had a very large live audience, and appreciate everybody listening on the podcast-only version, however you get the show. Really appreciate you guys tuning in. For Dan Rubin, I'm Dave Biddle. Hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Enjoy that Eclipse. Get some sunglasses, though, the proper sunglasses.